Thank you for the Epic Tier membership. Appreciate everybody hanging out today. Usually I wait till there's about 100, but we got a lot of news to get through today. So figured I'd get started and get right into it. You can see I wore the big collar today. So it's going a little bit crazy. I don't know what's up with that. Come on, big collar. I'm still sick. So the kids got hit with something, and now mom and dad are on the tail end of it. And I think we're almost better. I don't know, but it has not been fun. Uh, it's been a heck of a week. Yeah, I got the interview for patrons. The interview with Colin is going up on Monday. The interview on YouTube with Thomas Mahler is going up on Monday. This Friday, I will be interviewing Sean Layden. So be sure to get those questions in on Patreon. I have opened the Patreon question thread to everybody. So if you want to leave a question, that is fine. And then, of course, patrons get first priority. Thanks so much, everybody. Looking forward to the Sean Layden interview. When I started Save State Plus, there were a few people I wanted to get. He was one of them. He said some stuff I agree with, some stuff I don't. And yeah, this weekend I posted a video where I expressed my opinion and thoughts about the Activision Blizzard merger with Microsoft, basically asking the question, what was the point? It feels like they're not maximizing their ROI potential with the merger, and it's been 17 months, and it's kind of just left me wondering, why did you bother do this if you seem underprepared to do a consistent rollout of interesting and compelling content? And a lot of times the rollouts that they have done, like the Starfield edition, I feel like that was just a few tweets, and then we just never heard about it again. So I don't think the marketing of the merger has gone super smooth. I think they're sitting on a lot of opportunities where they could garner new interest. And I think it's unfortunate. Now, this isn't about like whether or not Bobby Kotick was a good or bad guy. I think we can all agree a lot of people did not like Bobby Kotick and they were glad to be gone. And it wasn't about any of that. It was simply about they have way more opportunities to leverage this merger for the benefit of Xbox and Xbox fans. And I think they're squandering it. And that's it. That's the only point that I was trying to make about it. And a lot of people like, we tried to tell you. And I'm like, no, that's not what the conversation was about. The conversation was not about whether or not the merger was good for gaming. The conversation I'm having today is about the fact that Microsoft isn't leveraging all of the wonderful IP. The fact that they haven't, at the very least, allowed backwards compatibility for the games that they now own the rights to. It's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me. They'll sell you those games for $30, but they won't turn on backwards compatibility if you own the disc. You own the game. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me about how strange the whole unveiling has been. Thanks for joining me, everybody. We have a lot of news to get over. I went over the last few weeks and sort of collected everything that there was to discuss. Let me see if I got the whiteboard here. I do. So Phil Aroni joined. I'll put you down, Phil. We got the whiteboard again. I've tried to come up with a better solution, but I haven't found one yet. So whiteboard it is. Maybe I'll write the names a little bit bigger. I can't see your name, Phil, but you know it's you. Thanks, Phil Aroni. Do appreciate it. So I think one of the more interesting topics of the last few weeks that I didn't get to talk about last week, and if I end up sounding a little nasally or whatever, it's because I gotta blow my nose. I might be doing that once or twice on the stream today, just as a heads up. But let's talk about the news. So there's a new PlayStation beta program, and we'll open up with PlayStation, then we'll go over to Xbox, then we'll go to general industry. So registration for new beta program at PlayStation starts today. This was from March 4th. Be a part of delivering the very best experiences from PlayStation through the beta program at PlayStation. These are always interesting. Sid Schumann wrote the blog post. Over the years, many of you have participated in various beta programs across Sony Interactive, which has helped us deliver the best possible gaming experiences to gamers around the world. And we're truly grateful for your participation. That's why I'm pleased to introduce the beta program at PlayStation Initiative. It's an easier, more consolidated way for gamers to sign up to participate in future PlayStation betas across a wide range of PlayStation experiences. The beta program at PlayStation will create an easy, centralized place for you to register your interest in a range of future PlayStation betas. A single registration for beta program at PlayStation will allow you to express interest in gaining beta access to test participating games for the PS5 console and PC, new PS5 console features, PlayStation app features, and even user experience features on PlayStation.com. You only need to sign up once to express interest in these various betas. And if you receive an invitation to a specific beta, it's up to you to decide whether you'd like to participate or not. Here are the requirements. You must have a valid PlayStation Network, a valid account for PlayStation Network in good standing with a current email address. Accounts with restrictions or violations may not be eligible for participation. Players must live in the region where the beta program at PlayStation is available, and players must meet the legal age requirements. Now, so far, it's not super exciting, but I remember when this happened, it seemed like a big deal on social media. So I did want to remind people, hey, you can go check this out and check it out. Xbox better, somebody said in chat. Sure, that's fine with me. There's actually a little bit more information on the official page. Types of betas. You can playtest games on your PlayStation 5 console. You can playtest games on your PC. Get your hands on new games at various stages of development to help us create incredible PlayStation experiences on PC, y'all. Watch out. PS5 console features. Play your part in testing new on-console functionality, system software, and innovations. This may include appraising features, providing feedback on design and durability. You can do PlayStation app and PlayStation.com features. And of course, it's quite easy to sign up. I actually signed up. They send you an email like this one that I found online. Welcome to the beta. And then what you can expect, basically what they outline in the blog post. So somewhat interesting. And yeah, once you sign up, you get this little dialogue. It says, congratulations, welcome to the beta. You got a little Astrobot guy. It's very cute. So this is interesting. I like early access stuff. Every once in a while, the main reason that I sign up for those things is because every once in a while they get something really interesting that comes along that you'll want to check out. Joshua, why did Joshua's comments get deleted? He said something nice. Thank you, Joshua. Joshua said, I liked you on the show. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You're signing up now. Joshua, are you still there? There's been something going on with the moderation on the channel lately. I don't know what's up, but I've been seeing a lot of message retracted, and I don't know why that's happening. I had no idea this was out. Is this user like... How do I check? Did Joshua just get randomly banned? I'm going to make him a moderator. Anyway, yeah, the PlayStation beta is out. It is good, and I'm quite excited about it. Yeah, misspelled your name. That's why. Okay, just making sure. I'm like, is my account like auto-flagging comments? I don't moderate the channel very much. Like, unless you're being... terrible, basically. I don't really moderate. I like people to be able to express themselves to a point, but just kind of keep it respectful if you can. Keep it respectful, and otherwise I don't really do it. Users can delete their own chats. Oh, okay. Let's get back on the hype train here. A little bit of a slower pace stream today. So yeah, the PlayStation beta, a good opener. Anybody in chat sign up for the PlayStation beta? You know why I do this? It's because every once in a while, they're like, hey, anybody in the PlayStation beta program, you can play this game that's not coming out for 4 years. You're not allowed to talk about it, but you're allowed to play it. And then, everybody, of course, talks about it and breaks NDA on X. But yeah, that's why I always sign up for those things. You never know quite what they're going to be delivering to you. And they show you, and then... or they allow you to sign up for it, and then you get access to something really, really interesting. I think my dad brain is kicking into high gear there for a second. Oh, I was going to try and find that song that Alex dances to and do a little dance today. but only for the for the super chats or whatever. Um, yeah, I was thinking like, how can I make the stream more entertaining? I gotta figure out like a silly gimmick or something like that. Anyway, let's continue on. PlayStation 5's Twisted Metal game was a battle royale with third-person shooting. This was from VGC. Apparently, there was going to be a new Twisted Metal game. This is part of the large swath of cancellations that we've heard about from PlayStation. Details on the canceled PlayStation reboot have appeared in a developer's CV. PS5's now canceled Twisted Metal reboot was a battle royale game featuring third-person shooter mechanics, according to the CV of a dev. Sony reportedly canceled the Twisted Metal live service game, which was in development at British studio Firesprite, as part of a huge round of company-wide layoffs last year. VGC reported in 2022 that the Twisted Metal reboot was in active development at Firesprite after it moved from original developer Lucid Games. It's understood that Sony originally intended to bring the vehicular combat game series to bring back the game to coincide with the Twisted Metal TV series, which launched in 2023. I have heard nothing but good things about the Twisted Metal TV series. Out of all the things that PlayStation has done, I think getting more into the movie and television realm has definitely helped them quite a bit. I think the Last of Us HBO show was quite good. I really like the Gran Turismo movie. I think I watched it twice, or at least I skipped to the parts that were really good. And I remember after the movie, I was like, did this thing really happen? And what was it like in real life? There's a crash that is a motivational point for the character that was told like slightly differently in the movie, but it was really, really interesting and a good flick. I would highly recommend the Gran Turismo movie, and I should go back and watch the Uncharted movie. I haven't given that one a shot yet, and of course I'm going to watch The Last of Us Season 2 whenever that comes out, and we'll talk about Neil Druckmann's quotes here in just a second, because it does sound like PlayStation is just not going to be doing much with Last of Us in the near future, which is unfortunate. But anyway, continuing on. According to the description, the game had third-person shooter mechanics wrapped with third-person vehicle combat, with the objective of being the last one standing, so basically the game. The developer also uploaded blurred images of the game. Oh, well, okay. I think that still counts as being under NDA, but it looks like there was a way that you could get out of your vehicle and actually engage in combat, and then you get in the cars and maybe you escape and fight everybody. That sounds actually kind of compelling. Firesprite was established in 2012. They worked on the 2023 PSVR 2 title Horizon Call of the Mountain. I know Horizon is a good game, but you gotta do something else, PlayStation. I appreciate that there are Horizon fans out there, but we know there's the Horizon MMOs coming. We got the Horizon Call of the Mountain game. Where's the variety? You used to like place bets on other titles, and you canceled anything that could have even potentially been something of interest. Like Horizon's fine. There's nothing wrong with Horizon. Yeah, Horizon Lego. So, like, what did you end up canceling? So you canceled the new Twisted Metal game. You canceled the God of War a game. And that's just off the top of my head. And then you canceled another one that I was really interested. Oh, you canceled The Last of Us, which sounded really interesting. And a bunch of other stuff that fans were really, really intrigued by. Stop with the Horizon. We're good on Horizon, PlayStation. Horizon 1 and 2 were great. Hang your hat up. Let's get Wolverine out the door. Let's work on something new that's not Horizon, please. Horizon's fine. We have 2 great games. Can we stop going all in on Horizon? That's my take. What do you think about it, chat? Should PlayStation go even harder on Horizon? Like the next 3 years. Yeah, you know what? No, I'm going to change my stance. Next year, I want their big game to be a Horizon Battle Royale type game. That sounds great. And then we're going to get Horizon Call of the Mountain 2 on PlayStation VR 2. That would be great. You know, utilizing PSVR. And then we'll get Horizon 3 Horizon the Game 3. I don't want anything else. I just want Horizon. Don't tell me anything about Wolverine. I don't want a Spider-Man 3. Oh, Horizon skins for the Spider-Man games. Good call, chat. Good call. Yeah, I don't want anything. You know what? I don't want Killzone to come back. Come on, like Killzone. Who would want that? I definitely don't want that infamous remake that we were hearing about. Yeah, no. Just more Horizon, please. Stop it with the kills, bringing back Killzone. Ugh. Come on already, right? SOCOM. Who would want a new SOCOM? Yeah, keep going all in on Horizon of all the franchises. In all seriousness, though, like, it's enough with the Horizon games. Enough with the Horizon games. Let's hear about something else, because one of their next, or Resistance. Yeah, nobody wants another Resistance entry. Let's not talk about that. They're just doing nothing with all these IPs. Yeah, Twisted Metal, cancel that. A new God of War game that has multiplayer components? No way. Last of Us Factions? Ugh. Get out of here with that nonsense. Things that I would actually be excited for? No. You know what? More Horizon. All day, every day. Seriously, they're kind of becoming one note, and it's unfortunate. They do need to diversify a little bit more. Speaking of strange surprises, apparently the PS3 got a surprise update in March of 2025. They released a new firmware update for the console. It brings the PS3 to version 4.92 with improved system performance. I don't even know what that means. A lot of PlayStation 3 consoles are kind of at the near of their life, because there's a lot of issues with the fans, a lot of issues with just the consoles just kind of reach the end of their life because the actual components are getting older and it has a high fail rate. Mine hasn't failed yet, thankfully. I have the 60 gigs, so I am on borrowed time with mine. But the hope would definitely be that the PlayStation 3 sticks around. So this random firmware update, kind of out of nowhere, was quite surprising, if I'm being totally honest. I didn't see it. Oliver Lee says Blu-ray update. Yeah, update 4.92 also renews the Blu-ray player encryption key for the console, allowing users to continue using the disk drive. Do you think that the main reason for this update was that Blu-ray update? Because they say improved system performance. I don't know how much they're actually going to improve the performance of the old console, but the fact that they allowed you to be able to use the Blu-ray player a little bit longer, that one makes a little bit more sense. Players can continue to use the console's disk drive for games and movies. So it seems to be like it is a vital component of being able to utilize your console, and that is why they pushed it. I've heard some people in the moderation community are a little concerned about it affecting how their mod works, but I don't really do any of that. I just want to use it to play basically Metal Gear Solid 4 at this point. I think that's the main game that I have on there that I would still use. Everything else has been remade or remastered at some point, allowing you to play it on more modern hardware. So, yeah. Here's what Ask PlayStation said. PS3 System Software Update 4.92 is available now. Please check our page for the latest system software feature and how to update. And if you go to the actual page, they kind of break down how to do everything. They basically say it's 200 megabytes. That's nothing. Always update your PS3 system to the latest version of the system software. By updating, you can enjoy additional features, improved usability, and enhanced security. And then it just says that's it. That's all the details that we get about this update. I think largely this was about updating the Blu-ray disc drive so that it would be more usable for longer. And that's the long and the short of it, you know. Anyway, yeah. Oh, yeah. I suppose I should talk about it a little bit. I did go on Colin's show. I was on Sacred Symbols Plus. That was a nice episode. Some people felt I wasn't energetic enough. So when Colin's episode comes out on Patreon this Monday, I made sure to amp it up a little bit. Colin plays the drums in this episode. So if you're a patron, you'll be able to watch that or listen to it this week, and it'll be released the following week on YouTube. And then Sean Layden records Friday, so get any of your questions in over on Patreon. I have the little robot over on Twitter reminding people about when that is going to post. I'm going to take a quick drink of my coffee here. Sorry, fellow dads out here. I am the best dad ever. Hate to break it to you, but I won. Sorry, everybody. My wife got me my wife gets me a coffee cup. I really like it. I already kind of covered this one on the channel, but I want to go over it again. There were some layoffs at PlayStation that I covered earlier in the week. And one of the things I've been thinking about on YouTube is like, you know, I was kind of like off my game there when I went independent, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then I just needed to make a video to get sort of out of that headspace of, what am I going to do? I got to do something crazy. I'm like thinking to myself, Destin, people were critical of your news videos, but you were getting decent views. People say they like your news. So just keep making news videos. So I kind of dusted off the cobwebs and I kind of got back into a rhythm where everything felt a little bit more comfortable for me. And once I established that, I was able to sort of realize, okay, well, I know I want to do the stream this Sunday. I got to figure out how to do that and still do time with the family and make it all work together. So I think I found a sweet spot. I have announced that I am going to be reviewing Assassin's Creed Shadows. I believe that embargo is the 18th. So I am targeting actually hitting that one. And I think if time permitting, because the one game I didn't do anything for that I was provided code for was Monster Hunter. I did that live stream, but I played it so badly, I actually cut that part out of the VOD. What do you think, chat? Do you want to watch me play Monster Hunter Wilds just so that I can play it? It's kind of like a, hey, look, I know you sent me a review code. I'm just not good at this franchise, but I thought I would do a little bit of a let's play and just play some games on the stream. Also got up and running on Spotify and iTunes. So, hey, if you like the Safe State Plus interviews, like the interview I did with Phil Spencer, I did one with Bucky from Pal World, I did the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 developers, Thomas Mahler, which is coming out on Monday. That one's coming out. There were several episodes coming. Colin will be in a week. You can check those out now on iTunes and you can check them out on Spotify. The Spotify versions are video or audio. So wherever you prefer to listen, you can now do so. And it would actually be really, really helpful if you checked it out on Spotify specifically, because in order for you to even have a monetizable platform there, you need to hit kind of a high threshold in terms of, you know, episodes posted, which I'll get to that eventually, and also hours listened to. So if you want to check that out, give it a listen, check it out. I would appreciate it. I just linked you to the Twitter post where you can check it out. Yeah, took me longer than I thought to get to that. I kind of knew what it would entail, but yeah. Anyway, Ghost of Yotei is 100 times better than Assassin's Creed Shadows. Well, I can't talk about Shadows. I can talk about my preview, I suppose, but nobody's played Ghost of Yotei yet. I would love to play Ghost of Yotei. I'm actually really intrigued by it. And Ghost of Tsushima also very, very good game. Let's talk about these PlayStation layoffs, though. PlayStation hit with more layoffs following recent game cancellations. Sony's PlayStation Visual Arts team faces fresh cuts as the company continues reorganizing. Now, basically, every time I go to Kotaku and there's an article that I find interesting, it's always Ethan Gatch. I'd say every single time it's Ethan. So kudos to Ethan. He is one of the writers that I do really appreciate over there. So thank you for your work and your efforts over on Kotaku. I really do appreciate it. Now, a few of the paragraphs that he sort of alluded to what happened here. He said, earlier this week, an unknown number of staff at the Visual Arts Group based out of San Diego were informed that their last day at Sony would be March 7th. The team provides internal art and technical support to first-party PlayStation studios and work closely with Naughty Dog on the recent Last of Us Part 1 and 2 remasters, among other projects. This is from Abby Leemaster, who posted on LinkedIn. It was tough waking up to messages that many friends and former coworkers from PSVA were laid off this morning. The layoffs today hit hard. PSVA let go of developers with decades of subject matter expertise, talent that will be extraordinarily difficult to recoup. This industry can be unpredictable, but the skill, expertise, and passion of the people I worked with at PSVA are undeniable. The layoffs come after an expensive failure in last year's Concord, new rounds of live service project cancellations, including a reported God of War spinoff at Blue Point Games, and a reorganization within the top echelons of Sony leadership. There's been a lot of changes over at PlayStation lately. They've really been shaking things up. Hiroki Totoki and Nishino and Hulse, like all of that's sort of been solidified. It does seem like on the paperwork that PlayStation is doing quite well, but clearly Concord hurt. And I do hope that the layoffs are going to slow down in the near future, because to me, it's been like nonstop. It has been nonstop layoffs. Everybody's been hit with them, and it's been really unfortunate. I do hope that things slow down in the near future. I totally forgot to promote this on the live tab. People say that they don't get notified that the live stream is going. And I was like, that's weird. I wonder if the notification went out. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make an adjustment here. Boop. Just do a real quick social promo post. Get the video on there. Get the word out to people who subscribe. Yeah, there's definitely something odd with notifications I've heard. And I think it's because I was a little off my game and I didn't post as often as I normally do. So let's get that out there, because we're about to talk about the big story. I never got a notification. I just noticed your post on X. Yeah, something's going on with the notifications in terms of it. So yeah. All right. Let's get back on our game here, because we're going to talk about this Neil Druckmann story. Did you hear that Neil Druckmann basically said that Last of Us might be somewhat abandoned by PlayStation? I was a bit surprised to hear this, especially because we had reports that there was a multiplayer game in the works in the Last of Us universe that a lot of people said was quite good, and it's gone now. Instead, they went all in on Concord, which I think is unfortunate. And we'll never get to see this game. And part of it was because of Bungie's advice about the support that it would take. I'm getting more and more concerned the more that I hear about the strategies at PlayStation and what's being implemented, especially because some of those strategies were from Bungie. And Bungie wasn't doing so hot themselves. So I am quite concerned about the path that they're going down, and I really hope we hear some exciting news about what PlayStation is going to be doing in the near future. Neil Druckmann, for example, recently said, "Don't bet on there being more Last of Us," when asked about The Last of Us Part 3. With HBO's The Last of Us set to premiere its second season this coming April 13, 2025, showrunners Craig and Neil continue to participate in interviews, building up the excitement for fans while also providing some anecdotes along the way. Of course, more of these interviews focused on the new season of the show, but there are still questions being asked about the future of Last of Us. Looks like what the future of The Last of Us looks like in regards to the games. He told Variety that there's more story to tell, but when asked about Last of Us Part 3, he said, "Don't bet on there being more Last of Us. This could be it." So this was reported on PSU. I don't know. They linked back to themselves, so I don't know. Previously, in a recent interview, so is Variety the source? I like to go to the source. So if Variety is the source, don't sorry, don't plan. Oh my goodness. Now I remember why I don't go to Variety, everybody. So let me get this fixed up, because Variety's having a meltdown right now because I use an ad blocker. I don't mind some ads. I just think some websites have just gotten completely out of control. Here it is. So here we go. This is from the Variety report. This is from the actual source. Then there's the long whispered possibility of The Last of Us Part 3. I was waiting for this question, Druckmann says, sighing. When I bring up the prospect of a third game, I guess the only thing I would say is don't bet on there being more of The Last of Us. This could be it. No matter the show's long-term prospects with a renewal, all but guaranteed from HBO, Mazin and Druckmann will soon start their process all over again. I've been feeling scared lately about like, oh yeah, I have to start thinking about season 3, Mazin says. I remember having this feeling when we were finishing season 1 where I was like, how the F are we going to top this? Now, of course, I'm like, how the F are we going to top this? Because season 2 is going to be so good. I think that's really unfortunate, if I'm being totally honest. So we lost a lot. And if we lost A Last of Us Part 3 or anything within the Last of Us universe for a television show, I don't know if that was a good trade-off. How old is Druckmann? He's got to be in his 40s. Anyway, he's getting up there in age, and I would have liked to see, thank you for the bless yous, everybody. I would have liked to see a little bit more Last of Us or whatever Naughty Dog has up their sleeves. We know Intergalactic is their next big game, and I am glad to see them do something a little bit different. But I would have liked to see Last of Us not just sort of go bye-bye. It just seems like they're not doing much with the franchise beyond the television show. So that is unfortunate. And the last little roundup of PlayStation news included the fact that Tencent raised its shares in Katakawa FromSoft by 1.11 to, or from 1.11 to 7.97%. So PlayStation has a large investment in Katakawa, and now Tencent is also raising its stake there. This does seem to be a very compelling purchase for PlayStation and for Tencent to be investing this heavily in it. So, yeah, interesting stuff. And if you're waiting to get a PSVR 2, now's the time to get it. They have dropped the price. PlayStation actually dropped the price of something. They dropped the price of the PlayStation VR 2 to $399. That is amazing to hear. If you're a PlayStation VR 2 fan or you've been curious about trying out Gran Turismo 7, you can actually try it out for a somewhat reasonable price. It was originally $549, and now it's going to be $399. I do have to imagine that they are trying to get that inventory off of your shelf. We're going to move on to Xbox news here in just a moment. But first, a word from our sponsor, me. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. If you like my content, if you are a potential sponsor, imagine your sponsorship was here instead of me telling people to hit that like button, hit that bell, and all that stuff. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I do greatly appreciate it. I think what I'm going to do with the streams going forward, because they are sort of like my recap show, I'm going to see if I can edit them to be in podcast format and deliver that as part of Safe State Plus. Because one of the things, the viewers are my sponsors. That's a good way to think of it, Philoroni. One of the things I have wanted to do is like do a newsletter or do a weekly recap show. And I think the stream is kind of that. So I wonder if I could just edit it in a way where it would work for both purposes. Because some people just like to listen on the go, etc., etc. Large majority of the fan base doesn't deserve a part 3, says Strongbow over on Twitch. Really doesn't deserve it because they are such a toxic community. Well, I mean, you have toxicity everywhere online. You just got to focus on the good and don't focus on the bad so much as you can, right? Don't feed the monster, so to speak. Let me get rid of this. Does this work? Yeah, okay. Xbox news. Avowed director hints at a future for the franchise now that we've built this wonderful world. Here's what they said. Last week, after it arrived to positive reception review-wise, not necessarily in terms of concurrence on Steam, but Xbox has said that they are happy with it. They gave an interview. Now that we built this wonderful world and also built this team strength and muscle memory around the content and gameplay in this world, I'd love to see us do more with it, Patel said. Obsidian has invested more than 6 years in Avowed and longer in its Pillars of Eternity universe. Development on the project began in 2018, 2 years prior to the company's acquisition by Microsoft, initially planned as a multiplayer version of Skyrim with a massive open world. Obsidian ditched the game's online component relatively early on. After Patel came on board to lead the game in 2021, the decision was then made to also switch the game's map from open world to multiple large open zones. The game also ended up leaning further into Pillars of Eternity's universe more than initially planned to. With any game you think, okay, we can't climb every mountain. Which ones are really worth the effort for us, Patel said. We knew from the Outer Worlds that we could build a really great game with open zones, and that also adds some advantages in terms of letting you really theme your arenas more distinctly and intentionally and provide a sense of progression as the players going from one environment to the next. What Avowed lacks in gloss, it makes up for with charm, depth, and a playful heart, our Birdie wrote in Eurogamer's Avowed review. This article I'm reading is from Eurogamer. It's one of this year's most pleasant surprises. So Microsoft did make a statement saying that they're happy with how Avowed is doing. I had the article open for like weeks before I had talked about it. This is from some guy called Paul Tassi. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Anyway, Paul and I are friends. I'm just joking. Microsoft is reportedly happy with Avowed sales so far, and it's always extremely difficult to judge whether the release of any Xbox game is a hit given obscured sales numbers and the question mark of day one Game Pass launches. The only hard numbers we have to go on are Steam concurrents and sales list, and that can only tell us so much. However, there's a lengthy chat with Obsidian and Jason Schreier's recent Bloomberg newsletter talking about many aspects of the game and, surprisingly, a comment on how it's going reception-wise and sales-wise. Schreier says that Avowed seemed to be worth the wait for Obsidian and that players have raved about the game, and the company said it's happy with sales so far. The company being Microsoft, and that's a good sign given that it's totally unclear what the expectations were for a smaller RPG like this, and if we're talking sales, that would be outside Game Pass subscription players, most likely. That's great. Steam concurrents hit about 20K, so that seemed quite low, and it is nice to hear that Xbox is happy about how Avowed has been doing so far. I played 10 hours of the game. I did many previews at IGN. I have to go back to it if I'm going to do a review on it. So currently I'm playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Avowed, and Monster Hunter Wilds. Like, too many things came all at once. So I did gameplay of those games on stream as sort of the content that I'm going to do. And I might have to do that for Monster Hunter Wilds. But for Assassin's Creed Shadows, we have it early enough that I can actually take a thorough look at it, come to a conclusion, and give my recommendation for the game once it is out. Speaking of things you can look forward to, Xbox at GDC is right around the corner. You're going to be able to discover the next era of gaming anywhere. What could that mean? Could it mean PlayStation 5? Discover what it means for Xbox to be playable anywhere on any screen. This is from developer.microsoft.com. Develop for Xbox Anywhere. Reach players everywhere at GDC 2025. It does seem like this is going to be a bit of a big deal. Join us at the Xbox Lounge at Moscone South Lobby. As we gear up for the GDC 2025 conference, we couldn't be more excited to meet up with our friends and colleagues in the industry and explore the many incredible new opportunities that await. It's 17th to 21st. Xbox is expanding to any screen on any device, making it easier for anyone to play with the friends they want, whether they choose to play with Xbox console, PC, smart TV, or mobile. At GDC, we're inviting game developers to go behind the scenes to better understand what it means for Xbox to be playable on any screen. We're committed to empowering game developers to tap into that opportunity by building cross-capable games that take advantage of Xbox across devices. Our presence will reveal the many ways game developers can reach more players with Xbox and showcase success stories of developers who are maximizing the opportunity. Now, that is taking place on March 17th to 21st. So I do think that is quite interesting that they're going to be talking about Xbox Play Anywhere. I got to blow my nose. I'm not going to do it on camera. I thought about it long and hard. We're going to cover it up for a sec. And we're back. Nothing happened. I do wonder if they're just going to like rip the Band-Aid off and talk about Xbox development on PlayStation 5 and Xbox development on competing hardware, because I do think that it should be brought up at this point, you know? And I do wonder what is going to happen with Xbox in the near future. I was critical about them in my latest video, and I am glad. Just give us uncensored nose blow. Sorry, I forgot to mute the mic. I'll do that next time. Yeah, still super congested. It's not fun, you guys. I've been sick for like 2 weeks. It has not been a fun time for Dad, and the kids are sick. And the coffee's at that level right now where if I drink it wrong, it's gonna dump all over my shirt. So trying not to make that happen. Thank you for the interim. Yet again, maybe Alex's thing is dancing and my thing is blowing my nose every once in a while. And we're back. Hi, everybody. There was some unfortunate Xbox news, though. We heard about a delay, but we did get to see some gameplay of Fable. He confirms, Craig Duncan, the studio's head, confirms that Fable is delayed to 2026. I know that's maybe not the news people want to hear. We have been investigating some rumors that Fable was eyeing a delay to next year. Today on the official Xbox podcast, Microsoft's Game Studios lead confirmed it's slipping. Responding to Xbox's Tina Amini, Duncan described where Playground currently is with Fable progress. We're really excited about Fable's progress and where Playground games are. We previously announced Fable as 2025. We are actually going to give Fable more time. It's going to ship in 2026 now. Well, I know that's not maybe the news people want to hear. What I want to assure people that is, What I want is to assure people that it's definitely worth the wait. Duncan lauded Playground's game's pedigree, noting that the quality of the Horizon and amid the quality bar the studio sets for itself. Duncan described Fable as having amazing gameplay, the most realized incarnation of the worlds of Albion yet. And of course, there is a gameplay clip that they showed off gameplay of Fable. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Looks like the official Xbox podcast has been going quite hard in terms of... Here we go. Here's the Fable segment. And yeah, they showed a little bit of the gameplay. So let me just bring this up really quick. Let's set it to 1080 here. It looks like a little low quality. All right, I'm just going to rewind. So they actually showed off a bit of the gameplay, and you can see this pre-alpha footage is making the game look quite well. Now, this is from the official Xbox podcast, and if we just pause any of these things, you can see they've done a lot with the lighting, the foliage. All of it is looking really, really quite good, and they're going to show a little bit more of the combat here in just a second. So somebody cut together, I think it was one of the artists online who like doing Xbox stuff, but the game is looking great. I actually am more excited about Fable after seeing this tease from it. I do appreciate that they are taking the time to put in the additional work that the game needs to make sure that it looks good. And a lot of people, of course, focused in on the character model, which is, to me, it just looks like the character model in new lighting. I'm not concerned about that because Fable for me was always more about humor and just being sort of silly with the characters. So I think everybody's focusing on the wrong thing with that particular topic. And I just think it's a little bit ridiculous. If I'm being totally honest about my super hot take on Fable is I think the game looks great. I think they're hitting the right tone and everything. And I'm really, really excited to play it. So yeah, this is how you do a delay of game. At least give us some content and all that. That builds much more confidence. I do wish they would have done a trailer or something though. Like the fact that you got to watch the Xbox podcast to find that particular clip. Let me see if I can bring it up really quick. Gameplay, because I know. Oh yeah, here it is. It was Clobril. So Clobril did a little cut of all the gameplay. Thank you, Clobril. And I'll just bring it up here on the stream, and we can just watch it on loop for a bit. So the lighting is looking great. The fact that you can ride horses, the horse galloping looks really nice. Combat's looking good against this giant chicken monster. I'm not really sure what that is. Fight some trolls with a hammer. Yeah, I'm feeling really, really good about where the game is currently and how everything is coming together. So very excited about Fable. I think the writing is looking really good. The lighting of the characters looks phenomenal. They've clearly spent a lot of time on it. And it's exactly what I want from Fable. It's looking exactly like the combat that I would expect, a little bit of magic. I am curious about how it will compare when we see the full launch and actually get to see how the characters interact and what it's like if you decide to play completely evil versus good. Because in the original game, my experience with the original Fable was I was playing it just to sort of, have fun with the new Fable game. And here is what happened with my game. I played a ton of it and I went to work. I came back and I play like Paragon, right? As good as you can. And my friend at the time was staying over and he, I had a long day. So I went and did like a 10-hour day or whatever. I come back and my friend had made my character so evil that it was glowing red with flies flying around it. And he had like murdered everyone. And I'm like, what did you do to my save? So at that point, it was basically his character, and I'm just like, all right, whatever. Because we were sort of trading it off, and then like I would play a little bit, and he would play a little bit, and it was my buddy Nick, and yeah, at some point he just completely destroyed the character, and I was like, all right, well that was that. That was my time with the original Fable. I think we ended up finishing the game eventually as his evil character, but it was just a fun memory in my mind about playing it with a friend. We did talk a little bit about the gamer tag radio episode also, or at least I did on the channel. It was interesting. I think I still have the quotes programmed in here, but it was from Peter Moore. And Peter Moore talked about how he thinks that Xbox would get out of hardware, but there were a few quotes in the interview. Definitely go check out the full gamer tag radio piece. He said, the industry has evolved, has matured. I like to think we weren't quite the pioneers, but certainly, well, I think we gave the industry credibility. And I think that, the console wars that you're kind of alluding to were healthy for the industry. I think gamers love to see Xbox versus PlayStation, maybe Nintendo as well. I think it was a rising tide that lifted all ships there. I'm paraphrasing the statements from Peter Moore because the text that I have on the screen, if you're watching on video, it's auto-generated by Premiere. And then I didn't correct it. I just made the video quick. So apologies for that. But long story short, it seems like he seemed to indicate that he liked the console wars. And I do actually agree that the rivalry between all the manufacturers, it created a environment that made them push each other forward. And I miss that. I do hope that we can get back to that someday. He continued on. It's different today. And when you see that, look what's happening with the acquisitions or the consolidation and what Microsoft, and I will say, if I had the choice, would they make hardware? No. Would they be delighted if they could be a multi-hundred billion entity delivering, content directory to television, to whatever monitor you choose to play on? You bet. So he thinks that they would get out of the hardware business. And honestly, I think we are headed towards a world where Microsoft does get out of the hardware business, but we're not near it now. We know that there's going to be another console generation. We got at least 10 more years of gaming with Microsoft, and I don't think it's going anywhere in the near future, but I think it's going to change because I think the world is going to change. I swear, the longer that I talk, the more the more often I have to blow my nose. I don't know what's up with that. Uh, Being sick is not fun. It's Twisted. Thank you for the $4.99. I do greatly appreciate the super chat. Also, did you hear that a Microsoft account will be required to play Forza Horizon 5 on the PlayStation 5? Not a big deal. I think it's pretty standardized. Do I like it? No. I don't think anybody likes being forced to sign into an account. Like, if I'm playing an EA game on Steam, do I want to go sign into EA? No. If I'm playing Helldivers 2, do I want to link my PSN or God of War Ragnarok? No. But I do think that PlayStation has figured out a way to incentivize you to link your PSN. I wish Xbox would do the same thing. And I think they should do it with games like World of Warcraft. Give a reason to link all of those ecosystems together. And yeah, I wish we could get to that point. Fortunately, here's what they say specifically about Forza Horizon 5 when it comes to PlayStation 5. Do I need a Microsoft account to play Forza Horizon 5 on PlayStation 5? Yes. In addition to a PSN account, you'll need to link to a Microsoft account in order to play Forza Horizon 5 on PS5. This process begins the first time you start up the game on your console. How do I link my Microsoft account to my PlayStation Network? On launch of the game, you will be asked to sign in with your Microsoft account, sometimes referred to as the Xbox Live services that are part of your Microsoft account, and link it to the PlayStation Network account you are currently logged into the PS5 console. Linking a Microsoft account to a PSN account is on a title-by-title basis and permanent. Players have the ability to unlink the Microsoft account to that PSN account for Forza Horizon 5, but will be constrained to relinking to only that specific and originally linked Microsoft account. Already, it's causing problems. Like, just make a new account if you have to, but I do not like all of these accounts that you have to log into. And remember, I find I'm in the that's annoying camp. I don't know where the rest of y'all fall, but I do not like having all of these accounts that you need to sign in just to play your video games. Am I right? Bethesda has exciting things planned for Starfield this year. I don't know if you heard, but remains silent. They had a very cryptic tweet where they hinted about something happening. We know you're eager for an update, and we truly appreciate your passion for Starfield. The team has been hard at work, and while we're not ready to share specific details just yet, we have a lot of exciting things planned for the game this year that we can't wait to talk about when the time is right. We're always listening and taking your feedback to heart. Thanks for being part of this journey with us. That was on social media from the team at Bethesda Game Studios. So have no fear, everybody. There has been a vague update about Starfield, and Bethesda is still doing stuff with it. Great. I would not be surprised if part of that update is the fact that it's going to PS5, as people who are watching this live are alluding to. But time will tell. And yeah, I do think it's going. Whether you want it to or not, I think you should get used to a lot more games on PlayStation. That covers off on the Xbox segment. Now we're going to move on to the segment all about the wider industry and some of the big news from other people who aren't PlayStation or Xbox. Not a lot on the Nintendo front today. Sorry about that one. But real quick, a word from our sponsors. Me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to actually, sponsor the stream, this is where your sponsorship would go. And you see how smooth that was integrated? I'm a pro. I'm really, really good at it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just trying this out. I don't know what I'm doing, you guys. Chat, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just messing around. I don't see any problems with linking accounts so long as it's an easy process. It's not, though. It's really annoying usually, and yeah. Moving on, Battlefield 6 leaks are revealing a Battlefield 4 vibe. Now, I don't know if you saw, but if you go to X and you type in Battlefield, there is a high chance that you can probably still find a bunch of clips of this leaked Battlefield gameplay, and it looks pretty good. Here's what Insider Gaming wrote about it. Just as we all expected, the recent behind closed doors playtest for Battlefield 6, not a confirmed title, have resulted in countless leaks hitting social and streaming platforms worldwide. I immediately signed up to be a beta tester right after these leaks happened so that I could try it out for myself because it looks fun. Not that I saw any leaks that I wasn't supposed to see. They were literally on the front page of social media, but yeah. The first test took place this week, and participants were quick to screen grab as much as possible and leak it all over the internet. What has emerged is something quite tantalizing, says Insider Gaming. It looks as though the Battlefield 6 leaks are uncovering a Battlefield 4, or dare I say it, Battlefield 3 vibe, and I am truly here for every ounce of it. This could be the return of peak. I gotta admit it, I think the leaks did more good for them than anything else. I think whatever the new Battlefield Labs game is going to be has garnered more interest, and I think it looks good. It just looks like Battlefield. It looks like the Battlefield that everybody wants Battlefield to be. So I was very, very excited about it after I saw it, and I signed up to be an inside tester immediately after because I really liked it. Ventura asks, wait, where's the comment? I just lost it. Oh, Nicholas says, I don't know why you made such a stupid video after Microsoft was doing so badly. Activision saved Xbox. Okay. Thanks for watching, Nicholas. I don't really have a big response to that. I don't think the video was stupid at all. I think a lot of people understand my perspective. They felt like Microsoft made a big deal about this acquisition and talked about how it would be beneficial. And I think they've squandered a lot of opportunities. So I don't agree that it was a stupid video. And I think the fact that it's has a very high click-through rate, has a very high retention rate, and has a ton of comments agreeing with it for the most part, proves it's not a stupid video. So I think the merger, my main argument is I think it was kind of pointless. If your whole plan was to like add a game here or there to Game Pass, then I think it was underutilized. You spent $70 billion to add 2-3 games to Game Pass and make sure that the Tony Hawk game that was already in development launched. Let's see some moves, Microsoft. It's been 17 months. You can't get my copy of Prototype on disc working. You can't add some of the old Call of Duty games to Xbox Game Pass. You can't do anything with World of Warcraft. You didn't really do anything with Overwatch. Like, what's the incentivization for this? I didn't say it was a mistake. I said it was pointless. I think it was pointless. Xbox would have been dead. I think Xbox has a large slate of games that aren't Activision Blizzard games this year. Avowed, Doom the Dark Ages. They even have some indie games filling the gaps. So, no, I don't agree with you whatsoever. Time will tell with the Activision deal, but I want to see them start doing more, and I think it's time. Here's one bet I don't think that they should make. Hideki Kamiya still wants to resurrect the canceled Scalebound game. Let's do it, Phil, he said. Kamiya, we all love you. I think it's time to let Scalebound go. Clearly, it's not going to happen. There are many other projects that the team at Platinum Games could be working on, and I do not think that Scalebound is the game that they should be placing their bets on, so to speak. Kamiya has now founded a new studio, Clovers, and is developing a sequel to Okami. Awesome. A new post on Clover's account includes a video showing some excitement around Kamiya's desk. He was reminiscing about the development of Scalebound while watching YouTube videos. Reads the post. It never made it to release, but even now he still feels proud of it. And I think I published this video over on IGN. Kamiya is quoted as saying, or no, it was Ryan. It was Ryan. Ryan did that one. I'd love to make it again someday. What do you think, chat? I'm recording this live. It's Sunday if you're watching the VOD later. But do you think they should go back and redo Scalebound, or should they move on? I think it's time to move on, personally. I think it's time for Scalebound to move on to whatever is next and just leave it in the past. Red Dead Redemption 2 has entered the chat. Red Dead Revolver 2? What do you mean RDR 2? Red Dead Redemption 2 is phenomenal. So a lot of people are saying they're still on the Activision topic. If you want to stop for a second and actually talk about Activision, they said that the revenue from COD and World of Warcraft only make it not pointless. That revenue hasn't changed. If you look at the users from both Call of Duty and World of Warcraft, they have largely been flat for 5 years, especially World of Warcraft. So instead of leveraging the opportunity of Game Pass, of cross promotion with a console audience, getting World of Warcraft on console, or just doing anything with World of Warcraft to revitalize interest and get renewed vigor and enthusiasm about World of Warcraft, they've just stayed with the tried and true plan of releasing major expansions. I am saying that there is an opportunity for Microsoft to take World of Warcraft and do more with it than they are currently doing with that franchise. Currently, what are they doing? Business as usual. And you know what? It's not moving the needle. Their release did quite well. You can see the regular spikes if you go to Google Analytics, but there's more that they could be doing. So if this merger didn't happen, World of Warcraft would be doing the same thing it's doing now. If this merger didn't happen, Overwatch would be in the same place it would be right now. So would Diablo. So would all of their franchises. I'm saying they need to come up with a better plan for this massive $70 billion acquisition than they currently have. Because right now, their big plan is, we don't have a plan. We're just going to keep doing the same thing. So my argument is, if you were going to drop $70 billion and you've got no game plan, or your game plan is, oh, we tweeted that we added StarCraft to Game Pass, what kind of plan is that? Take Xbox Game Pass, give everybody who signs up to Game Pass 1 free month of World of Warcraft as an incentive. Do something for the World of Warcraft anniversary. Release the game, which has native controller support, on Xbox. Release it on PlayStation 5. Garner new interest in this massive IP that you're just sitting on and doing business as usual with. Your World of Warcraft could absolutely run on an Xbox Series X and S, no problem. I think it's crazy that they're not yet doing anything with it. And I feel like 17 months in, this deal was tied up in litigation for so long. You're telling me there was never any plan about an execution post-launch? Like, was the finish line finishing the deal 17 months ago and then do nothing with it? There's 12 million monthly active users on WoW alone. And if the merger didn't happen, there would still be 12 million monthly active users. My whole point is, there is an opportunity to leverage this new partnership that I'm not seeing happen. That's it. So why even buy the company if you don't have a concrete plan in place about how all of that's going to work? And that's long and short of it. And I think it has a 90% like ratio on that video. Most of the comments understand where I'm coming from. So you can have your opinion about the financials and about how it saved Xbox. I think without Activision, Xbox would be about where they are anyway. I don't know that they would be going anywhere. With Activision, we still don't know the year over year. So they've now started reporting the all-up number with Xbox and Activision together. We don't know what that is year over year. What actual growth is it? 1%? Because if their growth rate is like 1% after spending $70 billion, I don't know. We'll see, OG. We'll see whatever's coming. Moving on, though, to other news. Apparently, Ubisoft's Far Cry extraction-based multiplayer shooter has been rebooted. The Far Cry extraction-based multiplayer shooter under codename Maverick has been rebooted, Insider Gaming has learned. Project Maverick, which was initially intended as a multiplayer component to Far Cry 7, morphed into its own project in early 2023. but after internal review, the project has been rebooted. That's according to sources familiar with the project's development, who said that the writing was on the wall for a number of months. Personally, I think this is a great idea for the Far Cry franchise. I think the idea of taking Far Cry and making it an extraction-based multiplayer shooter is good. And they had a similar idea with Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare, I believe was the title. And they just didn't do anything with it. Unfortunately, I think Ubisoft also has a lot riding on the Assassin's Creed Shadows release. There have been a lot of talk from investors about how unhappy they are with how the company is doing. There has been talks about Tencent purchasing the company. I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on how Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to do. And no, that game could do better than any of us expect. And I still do not think that it will be good enough for Ubisoft, because the game needs to do Call of Duty level numbers, and it's an Assassin's Creed. It's not a Call of Duty. So my take on the whole thing is that no matter how well Assassin's Creed Shadows does, it's not going to be good enough. And that's unfortunate. I don't want to see Ubisoft go away. Ubisoft has a lot of IP that they do really good things with. I actually think, if you think about hey, Terrible Mighty, good to see you. If you think about the last Assassin's Creed game, the Vikings Assassin's Creed game, it was very popular. Valhalla. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was a very popular entry into the franchise. And they've had a lot of missteps since then. The Star Wars game I didn't like the Star Wars game. You know, I played it for a bit. I played the first hour or two, and you got to the stealth section, and then you would auto fail if you got detected or whatever. I was like, nah, I'm just like so over this. I think they've gotten a little bit stale. They haven't pushed the envelope, so to speak. There's a lot of bloat in the Assassin's Creed games too. Like, what was Valhalla? It was like 100 hours, but how much of that was just stuff that wasn't particularly compelling? So I do think that is a bit of an issue that they need to contend with. And the thought about this Far Cry extraction-based multiplayer shooter from Ubisoft, I like it in theory. I don't know if it'll be enough time or enough of an interest from the community for Ubisoft to invest their remaining capital in that, because they are struggling. Nobody doubts that they are struggling. Speaking of other cancellations, there's a whole bunch of cancellation story, but Respawn has seemingly canceled its unannounced FPS multiplayer game. Unfortunately, it says via a post on LinkedIn, I have it here, right? Oh no, that's a different thing that closed. Evans revealed that the incubation project she was a part of has been scrapped. The unannounced incubation project I was a part of for the past year was canceled this week, so I am joining the group of extremely talented and kind people in the games industry searching for a new role, Evans says. The incubation project, while announced, was expected to be a multiplayer FPS title if past job postings were any indication. As far as the theme, setting, or anything else about the game, that remains unknown. Another project canceled by Respawn. And while we're talking about cancellations, let's just keep the ball rolling and keep with the bad news before we get to the good stuff, so to speak. We got that one. Oof. Yeah, let me just move these around a little bit, because there were several unfortunate reports about things that I was interested in, including there was this Skeleton Key game. Following the unfortunate cancellation of our project, I'm seeking a new role. 23 years of AAA game dev experience. I sympathize with all my peers and former colleagues subject to the same misfortune. New style, new direction, or so they say. Open to work. And this was somebody who was working at Skeleton Key. So one of the projects at Skeleton Key, which is part of Wizards of the Coast, that's been canned. Ballistic Moon, the Until Dawn remake, has reportedly shut down, according to insider gaming sources. Only the founders remain and possibly a handful of employees. So that's another game that was canceled. And then, of course, there was the big news about WB. Schreier about WB on Kind of Funny Gamescast. Monolith was not interested in making another Lord of the Rings game. An original IP got canceled in 2021. WB Montreal is currently pitching a Game of Thrones game. Interesting. TT will have a new Lego game next year. And Rocksteady is working on a new Batman game, thank goodness. But Warner Brothers also canceled a Wonder Woman game, and they shut down the Shadow of Mordor studio. They also announced that 3 total studios were shut down, including the Multiverses developer. Remember, they were trying to get in on that action with Multiverses. They shut down Monolith, Player First Games, and Warner Brother Games in San Diego. It is not immediately clear how many people will be laid off, but the number is likely in the hundreds. The quality of too many of our new releases has really missed the mark. JB Perrett, WBD's CEO and president of Globally Streaming and Games, wrote in a memo that was obtained by Bloomberg, "We need to make some substantial changes to our portfolio/team structure if we are to commit the necessary resources to get back to a fewer but bigger franchises strategy." You know, there's a lot of talk online about what you can do as a consumer if you want to see studios make a change. And what you do is you don't spend money on the bad games. It's that simple. If you do not like what a studio is creating, don't buy it. That's all you got to do. And it's very clear that titles like Suicide Squad, which lost them, $140 million, missed the mark. And titles like Hogwarts Legacy, which made not a trillion, $1 billion, 1 billion with a B, is what they're going to pivot to. So what do you need to do? In the very first video I made on this channel, I said, stop buying the things you don't like, because it's in your hands. If you're going to buy microtransactions and battle passes, then they're going to keep making that stuff because it's easy money. There's a Pirate Software made a video talking about how the cosmetic they made for World of Warcraft made more money than the entire expansion sales. Vote with your wallet. I've been saying it for a decade. The rules haven't changed. If you don't buy garbage, they'll stop making garbage. Because you can't survive on that. You can't survive by investing $200 million into something and then having it flop like that. So that's all you got to do. You just vote with your wallet. How do we solve these cancellations? Are higher ups calling the shots just too greedy right now for expectations to be reset and be more manageable? I think those executives are getting a big wake-up call. Oh, forcing the creatives to make garbage sure hasn't been panning out for us. Maybe it's time to reevaluate. Okay, you know what? We tried to do the shared world shooter thing with not Justice League, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Yeah, let's just go back to making that $1 billion Batman game and the $1 billion Harry Potter games again. Let's go back to that. What did we have to do? Not play the garbage. That's it. That's all you got to do. Like, you can post about it on Twitter or whatever. Like my part is, I'll be honest in my reviews. When I review Suicide Squad, the Justice League, or I preview it, I'm going to be like, hey, WB, this game sucks. Maybe you shouldn't be investing $140 million into it. Or at the very least, make the appropriate changes to salvage that investment. If they would have had somebody like me in the room telling them this, it wouldn't have happened. Hey, this is a bad bet. I don't know what prototype they had that had them so excited about Suicide Squad First of all, Suicide Squad as an IP, it's not that big. It's not Batman. Like, it's interesting, but like, okay, chat, you have $300 million. You have $300 million. Are you going to greenlight Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League or Batman from the team that made the best Batman games ever made? Which one are you going to put your money on? Batman. Yes. So if the executives are looking at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and they're like, I hear you, really solid pitch, but what about the $1 billion Batman game? Sorry, we're in the business of making money. Make the Batman game. Like, I appreciate not wanting to just make the whole thing for your make the same thing for your entire life. But if you're not going to make a Batman game, make the Superman game that everybody has been begging you to make for 20 years. This isn't hard. You bet $200 million on Suicide Squad. What are you doing? There's more press coverage about a fake leaked game from Rocksteady that was a Superman game than there probably was for all of the Suicide Squad marketing that you did. People have been talking about a Superman game from Rocksteady for years, and the closest we ever got to it was shooting Superman with bullets. Like, come on. It's just such a no-brainer. And it's really frustrating. Shadow Mordor's brilliant Nemesis system is locked away by a Warner Brothers patent until 2036, despite studio shutdown. An industry reacts to closure, so a lot of people have pointed out that the fantastic Nemesis system from Mordor, where if you were defeated by one of the characters, like they could get stronger, or they rise through the ranks, and it was a bit of an interesting opportunity for them to sell that data, just do something with it. So anyway, it's this great system. It's the Nemesis system, and it's locked away on a patent. Nobody else can use it. It's brain dead. Anyway, let's talk about something a little bit happier. Monster Hunter Wilds, well, it has mixed reviews, mostly due to performance issues. It currently has 592,000 people playing, and it peaked at 1.3 million players, almost 1.4 million players. Very excited about it. Very excited to see it doing so well. It is currently number 2. Oh, jumped down to number 3 since I started streaming. Right below it is Marvel Rivals. So congratulations to the Monster Hunter Wild teams. That is great. Cool says, Destin, did you see how Dragon Age on PlayStation Plus? I'm extremely worried for Mass Effect. Mass Effect's being created by a separate team. Everybody involved with Dragon Age Inquisition, I believe, has exited the studio. So I understand any cautious reaction to Dragon Age after Dragon Age with BioWare, but it does seem like it is a somewhat separate entity from the team that made the first game. Hear me out. Nemesis system plus the deck of 52 from Mercenaries. Think of that possibility from Filoroni. I think that's pretty interesting. Yeah, Indra didn't know this, but Dragon Age Inquisition actually made its way over to PlayStation Plus. So if you have PlayStation Plus, you can just play Dragon Age. Pretty sweet deal, if you ask me. And the last story, a little bit of a smaller one, but Acclaim is back, led by former founder of Graffiti Games, Alex Joseph. Acclaim says its goals are to support indie developers and reignite classic franchises. Great. I'm excited to see what they end up creating. And we're all caught up. You know, I kind of got sick on a good week because we got a nice rounded up. We've been streaming like an hour and a half. We covered off on all the news this week. We covered off on all the news from last week. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. But that worked out quite well. It has been really slow on the news front. I'm going to do my best to more regularly make news videos, but I'm also just not gonna make them if I don't feel like it's necessary. And a lot of these stories, I feel like I potentially could have done something larger about WB, but a lot of these stories are like, okay, layoffs at WB because, I mean, Suicide Squad was a bad bet and it tanked. So yeah, they got to have layoffs. Multiverses didn't pay off, bad bet. So they got to have layoffs. Like that's, of course, if I invested $200 million and I got back $20 million, well, I guess I should just keep paying everybody. Like, it's the reality of the situation. Nobody is happy about layoffs, but like, that's what happened with Suicide Squad. Is a massive investment. They lost their shirt. And it's unfortunate. Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. It's not fun. It's not a happy time, but you lose, you go negative 180 million, stuff's going to change. That's what happened at PlayStation. Xbox, sort of the same picture. They had a lot of redundancies I think Xbox has had the most brutal amount of layoffs. I think they had 10,000 layoffs or something. So, oof. It was brutal. Cool said, you're worried about woke stuff. I wouldn't worry about it. Mass Effect is, I mean, what are they going to add to it? There's already everything you could possibly think of in the Mass Effect franchise. There's gay characters. There's interspecies romances. Like, I don't know, man. And I think that word, I don't think that word does a good job of describing anything anymore, because everybody who says woke, whatever, I don't even know what you're talking about half the time. Yeah, it's not my favorite. Long story short, though, like, if you put stuff in a game that is universally disliked and then no one buys your game, what do you think is going to happen? There are going to be layoffs. So when you make a game, I think it's totally fine to put controversial things in a game. If you do it respectfully and you do it tastefully and you do it in a manner where you're being considerate to the subject matter that you're approaching. I think that somebody who did it really well was Larian. Larian handled those topics really well. I think Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, there's gay characters in Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. There are straight characters. There's everything that I think a lot of people are complaining about today. There was the gay romance in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and everybody was all upset about it. And I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. It's an RPG where you get to choose how that character is. It is a decision you get to make. Like, I'm straight. I'm a married guy with kids, and I'll do the gay romance options in games. Why not? It's a video game. It is a video game. Yeah, I don't think what you're describing, Original Gamer, I really don't think that it has any impact on the game. Well, let me read it again. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're fighting ghosts. Oh, it's from Google? Yeah, I think you're kind of fighting ghosts, you guys. Like, you Mass Effect has given no indication that they're going to do anything too crazy. There was all this hubbub about Avowed. Avowed turned out to be a nothing burger. It's just a cool RPG. There was all the drama about Fable, and then a new screenshot came out about Fable, and everyone's like, look, they changed it. And it's getting out of hand. It's completely out of hand. You know, I've been a big advocate against microtransactions, against poor storytelling. And I think those are things that we can all agree that we would like to see improved in games. But it just got to the point where it feels like a lot of the criticisms, you're fighting ghosts. So, yeah. Mass Effect is aliens? That's beyond diverse. Give me a break. Yeah, it's just, it feels like people are fighting ghosts. And, like, look, if you think a game isn't good for any reason, just don't play it. Don't buy it. A lot of people liked Dragon Age Inquisition. I did an interview with Paul Tassi. I said I didn't like it. I felt like it was way too handholdy. I didn't like that I couldn't be a dick. In Avowed, a lot of people had the same criticisms early on, and then in Avowed, you can totally be a dick. You can be absolutely terrible. And we've talked about Dragon Age Veilguard. I meant Veilguard many times. And my main thing is, yeah, I can't be a terrible person. I like to be a terrible person in the video games that I play. So, yeah. And nowadays, I just feel like people are looking for something to be mad at. So, yeah. I just think Andrew Wilson has ruined EA. Xbox should have bought him. I mean, maybe. Anyway, I hope I handled that conversation the best I could. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Gay options are totally fine in a video game, in my opinion. Bring them on. I'm gonna play them every time. But like, I'm not gonna make a video about how Hans can romance the other guy, and like, it's just silly. It's a little silly in my opinion, and I don't get all up in arms about that stuff, really. I will say this: the one thing I will say about it, if you are going to broach a serious topic, like I don't care what the topic is, like, but especially in relation to relationships and romance and telling personal stories, you have to be mindful about how you handle the nuances of that. And you have to be really, really respectful, because you are creating a representation that is going to mean a lot to a lot of people. And if it's handled poorly, you could potentially end up doing more damage than good in that scenario. And that's one thing I worry about with a lot of the writing in modern games, where it's bad. It's not handled well. And because of that, it actually ends up being a net negative. And that's not what I want to see. I think Mass Effect has done a phenomenal job of tackling very difficult subjects throughout Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, and even in Andromeda, which wasn't great. But they've done a really good job with the subject matter. So did Baldur's Gate. And there are great examples. Witcher did a really good job about handling those difficult things. I would even say Dragon Age Inquisition did a really good job. I know a lot of people fixated on the transgender character in Veilguard, but there was transgender characters in Inquisition. So like, I think it's how the story was told. And I think at the end of the day, if you handle things with the appropriate amount of respect and nuance that it deserves, then I don't think we would see quite as much of the vitriol as we have seen online. And honestly, it's really unfortunate, because I just want to play games and talk about games. I don't want to talk about people's personal experiences and things like that. Like, it's not really my place. So that's why I kind of don't really talk about it. Widget says, good news story. Have you played Split Fiction yet? I have not. I have not played Split Fiction yet, but I've heard nothing but good things. Split Fiction was another example. There's a great video of the lead designer coming out, and somebody was calling that game woke because it had two female protagonists. He's like, the reason my first game had two brothers, my second game had two guys. My second game was a guy. My next game was a guy and a girl, and this one's two women. And it's because it's for my daughters. So, yeah, I think like, it's so unfortunate that the gaming community. What's the saying I've heard online? When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And I'm like, the guy made the game for his daughter. You gotta tone it down enough. Like, it's out of control. Anyway. Zachary says, my partner and I are 3-ish hours in and having a ton of fun with Split Fiction. Heck yeah. I got to play that one. I'm playing Shadows, though. I'm reviewing Shadows. I think I'm going to take back a little bit of my day. I'm going to edit this down. I'm going to put it out as part of Save State Plus. You can hear me getting all nasally again. Probably time to rest up a little bit, rest my voice so that I can make more videos. The lady is based after the guy's wife. Yeah, it's like he's basing it on the people in his life. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to get out of here. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell to know when my content goes live. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Woodpit, for saying great interview with Sir Toby the other day. I do appreciate it very much. Thank you so much to the members. Special thank you to Christopher Eddy, Inner Machine, Philaroni, Savage, Spingetter, and the Scarecrow 121 especially, as well as anybody who backs on Patreon. You can back this show over on patreon.com/Save State Plus and all the content that I do, or you can become a member on YouTube. While I have you, if you want to check out my hot take about how Activision seems kind of pointless, and I hope that Microsoft can leverage it a little bit more, you can check that out right now. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.